Hello everyone, and welcome to tonight's event. We will get started with tonight's presentation shortly. We're going to allow for a few moments for people to join the webinar. Again, thank you so much for joining us today. Tonight's presentation is Understanding Your Financial Aid Award. My name is Dustin Noji. I'm the Interim Director of Admissions at UC Merced, and I will be joined tonight by my colleagues from the Office of Financial Aid and our Office of Enrollment Management, Marketing, and Communications. So again, we will get started here shortly, and we're going to allow for a few more moments for folks to join the webinar. So please hang with us.
Hi everyone, thank you so much for joining us for our online webinar event called Understanding Your Financial Aid Award Letter. Thank you so much for joining us. We will have some financial aid advisors joining us as well during the question and answer session to get to those Q&As for you. So for now, let me go ahead and give you a few tips on how to run the webinar so you can join us for question and answer. So first, if you need to adjust your audio settings, in the lower left corner of your screen, you should see an option for that. You can click on that and you will get a dialog box that will give you some audio options and you can adjust those accordingly. If you would like to raise your hand during our session, you can do that as well. In the lower panel, you will see an option for raising your hand. Go ahead and click on that icon. Your hand will be raised, and when you're ready to lower your hand, you can select that button again. We do hope that you participate with us with our question and answer session, and to do so, you can click on the Q&A button that should also be located at the lower portion of your screen. Lastly, if you'd like to adjust the size of your screen, you can do so in the upper area of your screen, and you should see a link that says View Options. You can make your screen full size or a bit smaller, whatever your preference may be. So without further ado, I will go ahead and hand it over to one of our expert speakers today, and that would be Annabelle.
Hi everyone, my name is Annabelle Garza. I am a financial aid advisor here in the Office of Financial Aid and Scholarships. I've been with the office for 5 years and we will be assisting you today.
Hi everyone, my name is Tanya Arellano. I'm a financial aid advisor here at UC Merced. I'm also a UC Merced alum. I graduated back in 2017 and I have a year working here at the office.
So today we're going to be discussing Understanding Your Financial Aid Award Letter. At the end of this presentation, we will be hosting a live Q&A to answer any questions you might have. We will have 2 advisors available. One of them would be Tanya, the one that you met earlier, and another advisor named Leticia Diaz. So let's go ahead and get started. Today we'll be going over the following topics: gift aid and self-help aid, cost of attendance versus direct cost, and helpful resources. So here's an example of a financial aid award letter. The letter will list the amount of financial aid you're eligible for, along with your estimated direct cost and your cost of attendance. In the following slides, I will be going over each section with you, so don't worry. So what is gift aid? Gift aid is free money that does not need to be repaid. The following types of gift aid are the federal Pell Grant, which a student will have 600% or 6 years of eligibility, and they could view their eligibility at nslds.ed.gov. There is also the FSEOG grant. This grant is given to those with low EFC. It is a minimum of 100, or they could receive a maximum of 1,000. There is also the Cal Grant. A student eligible for the Cal Grant is eligible for 4 years of eligibility. It is based off of income, household size, and high school GPA, along with assets. Any questions in regards to your Cal Grant, you can contact the California Student Aid Commission on the number listed here on the slide. And institutional aid is aid that we, UC Merced, offers to the students, which is the Bobcat Grant. There's no separate application for this grant. Simply, you would do your FAFSA or DREAM Act by the March 2nd deadline. You would need to turn in all documents by the document deadline, no later, and you need to have enough financial need. Another form of gift aid is scholarships. We have institutional scholarships. All incoming students are automatically considered for these institutional scholarships, and it is provided on the information that's provided on the UC admissions application, along with the financial aid information we're used to determine eligibility. So there's no separate application for this. We consider all students based off of the UC admissions application. Then we have outside scholarships. You could visit our financial aid website to view any outside scholarships that we may have. The web link is listed there. Then there is the middle class scholarship. This scholarship is for families with income and assets that are up to $184,000 for the year. And the scholarship amount is between 10% or 40% of tuition and system-wide fees. The Blue and Gold Opportunity Plan. Blue and Gold Opportunity Plan is a promise that the UC gives to students stating if the family income is below $80,000, the student will not pay for tuition and student services fees out of their own pocket, which this includes the Cal Grant, Pell Grant, and Bobcat Grant. So what this means is if your gift aid added up is more or equal to the cost of tuition and student services fees, then you are under the Blue and Gold Opportunity Plan. For more information on the Blue and Gold Plan and the Middle Class Scholarship, you could visit our website here. It would be under Types of Aid and Resources. So what is self-help aid programs? Self-help aid programs is money that will need to be repaid. So for our FAFSA filers, students are eligible for the subsidized loan, which is the best option, as that one does not accrue interest while you're in school, and the unsubsidized loan. That one is the second best option, as that one does accrue interest while you're in school. The repayment on these two student loans does not start until 6 months after you have graduated or fallen below half-time. The Parent Plus loan is the third best option because this loan does accrue interest while the student is in school, and the repayment plan is not the same as the student. So essentially the student loan would be the best option for families as the repayment and interest rates are lower. For the parent, the loan will start once the full loan disperses come spring term, the parent will fall into repayment. So they will have to start making their payments once the spring portion of the loan disperses. Then for our FAFSA filers, if you were awarded the federal work study, what this means is it does not apply to your UC Merced bill, but what this means is you are eligible to apply for a federal work study job. You would apply for the position, interview, and if hired, they would use these federal work study funds to pay for your wages. And then you would use that funding to help pay for personal expenses, whatever you may need. For our DREAM Act filers, you are eligible for the DREAM loan. This is considered the same as a subsidized loan. No interest will occur while you're enrolled in school, and the repayment plan starts 6 months after you have graduated or fallen below half-time. For all students, there is a private student loan option. This is the last resort if, for whatever reason, a student is not eligible for these federal loans or the DREAM loan. You can find more information on alternative loans on our website under Types of Aid and Loans. So, determining your financial need. Your financial need is determined by your cost of attendance minus your EFC. Your cost of attendance is an estimate of your expense to attend the UC for 1 year, which we will discuss in the next slide. Your EFC is based on info submitted on your FAFSA or DREAM Act, which is income, number in household, number in college, assets, untaxed income, etc. What is considered financial need is gift aid, subsidized loan, and federal work study. Therefore, your cost of attendance minus your EFC determines how much of the need-based aid you are eligible for. So your cost of attendance is, again, an estimate that includes all expenses to attend the university for 1 year, which, again, this includes your tuition and fees, your books and supplies, room and board, personal expenses, transportation, and health insurance. So your cost of attendance can depend on whether you are living on, off campus, or at home with relatives. So please note that your cost of attendance is not what you are going to be billed for. You would only be billed for the direct cost, which would be your tuition and fees, health insurance if you do not waive out, and housing fees if you live on campus. But your cost of attendance is not your bill. Mandatory health insurance. Every student needs to have health insurance. If you do not have your own health insurance and did not complete the waiver, you will automatically be enrolled in the UC health insurance plan. So for more information on the waiver and the health insurance, you could go to the website listed on the slide here. So now you're probably wondering, what is my direct cost? What do I have to pay out of my own pocket? Well, the direct cost worksheet is a useful tool that will help you calculate that. So if you recall, the direct costs are those paid directly to the university and billed through your UC Merced student account. So this is, as discussed earlier, what you're actually going to be billed for. It's tuition and fees, health insurance if you did not waive out, and housing fees if you're going to live on campus. The website where you could find this worksheet is listed there. Once you click on the link or go to the link, you will log in using your UC Merced Net ID. Once you have logged in, the worksheet will automatically populate everything for you. It's very user-friendly. The worksheet is then broken down into sections as you see below. Section A will calculate all your direct costs, so what you will be billed for. Section B will get all your gift aid from your student portal. Section C is where you would plug in your student loans and parent loan if needed. And then Section D will calculate your balance due or refund amount. So to break it down, if you see the worksheet here, it has 3 columns. It's divided between fall term, spring term, and academic year, which allows you to view your bill by term or overall for the year. So Section A will list your direct costs. It would automatically have your tuition and fees plugged in, the UC ship, and housing. If you plan to waive the UC ship, all you need to do is complete to update the academic year column to 0, and it will recalculate the balance for you for fall and spring. Housing charges that you see there is an average cost. So if you want a better breakdown or idea of what your bill is going to be, you could go to the housing website, get the cost of the room and board that you plan to be in, whether it's a quad, triple, double, or single. You would update the academic year column, and it would repopulate those numbers for you. Then if you see on line number 5, total charges, it will tell you what your bill is going to be for fall and what it's going to be for spring, considering those direct costs. Then in Section B, it has brought in all your gift aid that you are eligible for. It has plugged it in for you by logging in, so you do not have to update any of those fields. It will show you what you would get per term. So on line 13, total credits, that is a total gift aid that you are receiving. In Section C, this is a part where you would plug in your loans if you feel that you would need or you might want to borrow your student loans or the Parent Plus loan. So if we look at Section D for the fall term, if the amount listed there is in red and you have not plugged in your student loans, then that's telling you that after your gift aid has been applied to your total charges, that you still have a balance. So at that point, you could decide if you want to use your student loans or the parent loan to help cover the difference of the cost. Now, after your gift aid has been applied, and then the amount in Section D is in green, then that means that you will be receiving a refund. So your grants will always go applied towards your direct cost. Whatever's left over, if there is any funding left over, you receive that as a refund. If there is no money left over and you still have a balance, then essentially that's what you would pay out of pocket. Now, again, you could play with this. It's very user-friendly, mess around with it, update the housing cost to figure out what you are planning to do. This is really going to be a helpful tool for you to really understand what your bill is going to be like coming the fall semester, and even shows you for the spring. Now, again, your loans, it is optional. You do not have to borrow your student loans, so you could also mess with it here on the worksheet. Plug in only one loan, or just a parent loan, or just a subsidized, whatever you decide or want to see what the cost would be like. This is the tool that you would want to use. This is very, very helpful information, and we've done it very user-friendly, and we have videos on our website as well to help you understand how to use this worksheet. So this is our financial aid website, where you will find a lot of helpful and useful tools and resources in case you have any questions. It's financialaid.ucmerced.edu. You will find information about different types of aid, receiving your aid. All our forms and requirements are online, resources, very, very useful website that we constantly are updating and posting notices and events for students, so that way they could be up to date. I strongly recommend constantly being on our website, following us on social media, because we do post a lot of very helpful tools and information for the students. We also have a lot of answers to our most frequently asked questions on our website. We have Financial Aid TV, so ucmerced.financialaidtv.com, where you can find a lot of this information as well. We have YouTube videos, everything on here for students for the most frequently asked questions that we get. So very, very important that you guys are constantly checking out our website. Again, very useful information, helpful resources to help you during these times, especially if you are an incoming freshman. You're the first one in your family going to college. This is a place that you want to go with your parents and search it and look up any information and questions that you might have. So this is your student portal where you would check on your student checklist. So my.ucmerced.edu. You would log in here to view your checklist, access your student email. This is a place that you want to go to because that every office communicates with the students via email and via their student checklist. The document deadline is June 1st. So if you were selected for verification, please submit all documents before the June 1st deadline. The sooner the better. However, it cannot be past June 1st. If you do miss this deadline, you will be ineligible for any institutional funding, which is Bobcat grant. And a lot of students do rely on that Bobcat grant. You don't want to be the one that lost out on a lot of gift aid. So please, please, please make sure that you submit your documents by the June 1st deadline. Very important. And constantly be checking this website here because, again, all our communication is done via email and through the student checklist. So we have arrived to the conclusion of the presentation. Thank you for attending and your attention. I hope you found this information very helpful. We will be switching over now to our live Q&A, and we will have our two advisors, as mentioned, answering your questions that you may have. In the future, if you have any questions, you can email us at finaid@ucmerced.edu, or you can call us at the Students First Center at 209-228-7178. Or you could visit our website where you would find answers to your frequently asked questions. And again, thank you for your time.
Hello, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us for our live event webinar of Understanding My Financial Aid Award Letter. I hope that you got all of your questions answered during the webinar, during our presentation. However, we do still have the question and answer option available for you, so you can click on that Q&A button at the bottom of your screen and enter your question. We will then be able to get that answered for you by one of our financial aid advisors here in just a couple of minutes. They will be doing a live Q&A session. So please get those questions in again using that Q&A button at the bottom of your screen. Until then, let me just give you a few quick facts. On the website admitted.ucmerced.edu/webinars, you will find the recording for this webinar. You'll be able to do a replay in a couple of days. You can also find an outline of all of the other great live events we have coming up. A couple of those include Housing a Residence Life, Next Steps for New Transfer Students, as well as an event for parents and families. So please definitely take a look at that website, admitted.ucmerced.edu/webinars. You will find, like I said, the recordings for not only this event, but also others that we've had in the past. Without further ado, let's go ahead and get started with our live Q&A with our financial aid advisors. Thank you so much again for joining us. Have a wonderful afternoon.
Hi everyone, my name is Leticia Diaz. I'm a financial aid advisor here at the Office of Financial Aid and Scholarships. Please bear with us. This is our first time doing this live Q&A. So we're gonna go ahead and go with the questions and answers, but before we start that, again, my name is Leticia Diaz, and now you will meet my other coworker, Tanya.
Hi everyone, you probably already saw me at the beginning of the video. My name is Tanya and I'm a financial aid advisor here at UC Merced.
Okay, so I'm gonna go ahead and take the first question that we have. Does verification affect your original financial aid award letter? And yes, that is correct. It does possibly impact because we compare essentially or update the information you listed on your FAFSA or California DREAM Act application to the verification documents you submitted, okay? I'm gonna go ahead and take the next question as well that says, for any student loan, could a student pay through Worksheet? And yes, any loan that a student gets can be paid while the student is in school with federal work study money. If the student has another job somewhere else, like at Target, it can be paid, or if parents want to pay while the student is in school. it could definitely be paid with any type of funds, essentially. Let me see, because we're going to go through the rest of the questions that we have.
So I think the next question I see, it says, I filled out my proof of citizenship. How long will it take for my status to be reviewed so I can receive my aid? So typically to review citizenship documents, it does take around 5 to 14 business days. So please allow us that amount of time so that we can review your documents. And once we do review them, we would be able to award you a financial aid package.
Okay. There's a question here, particularly for a student, but it is specific for the student. It's talking about a parent income and being above the $80,000 for the blue and gold and only being awarded a Cal Grant. Every student's award package is specific for a student based off of their financial aid application, again, being the FAFSA or California DREAM Act application. So they're awarded based off of that, your student's information. So if you do have questions specific to your student, I would highly encourage you to give us a call so we could really give you specifics about your student instead of the live chat.
So the next question I see, it says, I received a scholarship for $20,000 each year. Would that cover my dorm? So if you're referring to the Bobcat grant that you received $20,000, that should definitely help cover room and board fees, just because tuition and fees is around $13,538. So if you can use our direct cost worksheet that we covered in the presentation, you'll be able to play around with the numbers. So it'll take your direct costs, what you're paying directly to the university, which would include room and board, tuition and fees, and health insurance. So it'll populate what you're directly paying to the university, and then it'll take into account all your grant aid. And so you'll be able to see how much your grant aid is covering your direct costs.
Okay. The next question that I'm going to take says, how does UC Merced financial aid package better than any other UC financial aid package? So your financial aid package is based off of every institution. So essentially based off of your financial need, your FAFSA or DREAM Act application, that's what you're being awarded at every institution. So again, through the webinar that you just seen, you can go ahead and compare it based off of our direct cost, then your financial aid package, and you could base that on every other institution that you're getting a financial aid award letter. You want to see the direct cost, you want to see your financial aid package for every institution. So another question that I'm going to go ahead and take is, what are some examples of federal work study at UC Merced? So one of the examples that I can give you, essentially in our office, we have, I want to say 5 or 6 federal work study positions in our office. So that's one example of you having a federal work study job within the UC. One thing that I do want to say, and there might be questions about this, is that there's a lot of jobs on campus that are federal work study, but there's also more jobs as well that are not federal work study jobs. And if you go to our website under types of aid, work study, you can go ahead and get more information on work study and go to the Center for Career and Professional Advancement so you can see the jobs that are available for students.
And then I'll take the other federal work study related question. So it says, what does federal work study cover? So when students think about federal work study, they think that it'll go directly towards paying their bill. However, this is just an amount that we are offering you so that you can work on campus while you study. So for example, if you receive $5,000 in federal work study, that doesn't mean that you're gonna automatically get those $5,000. You do have to apply for a job, interview for that job, and then work the necessary hours up until you get those $5,000.
So the next question that I'm going to go ahead and get, there's a few actually. It says, how do you apply for a work study as an incoming freshman? That's one question. And then the other question is, what is the difference of federal work study and a regular job? So essentially, federal work study is like a regular job that you have. So you will go ahead and work and get a paycheck every 2 weeks, and you get to use that money for what you want. The difference between a federal work study job and a regular job is that you essentially, it almost crosses out. If you work and you get that money, it's almost like you didn't work and get that money, and it get reported because it's already it's already being reported because you're already working, if that makes sense. So essentially, you already have federal work study money, and essentially your financial aid package is taking care of your school. So on the FAFSA and the California Dream, well, it's federal work study is only federal aid. So in your FAFSA, there's a question that says if you earned any federal work study money, and you get to put that on there. So essentially it doesn't count against you, okay? A regular job, it possibly can count against you depending on, again, on how much money you make in a regular job and whether or not you do or if you don't have to file taxes as well. So then the next question is, how do you apply for a work study as an incoming freshman? Again, I briefly mentioned, you go to our website, types of aid, work study, and then you want to go ahead and go to the link to find a job, which is for the Center for Career and Professional Advancements. And then they'll have jobs available for students. And if you do have questions about jobs, that's who you would want to speak to.
So I'm going to go ahead and take the next question. So it says, how do I make sure that I receive the Bobcat grant financial aid and not receive the loans? So typically when students are awarded a financial aid package for the 2020-2021 school year, they are considered for all grant aid as well as loans. All grants are automatically accepted. However, loans are still kept on offer status until the student decides to accept. So students don't necessarily have to accept a loan if they don't want to take it out. But yes, any grant aid would automatically be accepted, and students can accept any loan amount through their portal, through my ucmerced.edu, and then there is a tab on the side that says My Financial Aid, and then students go to Accept Decline Awards and then select the appropriate award year, and that's how they can see all their aid. And then there should be a tab to the right-hand side where it lets students accept whatever loan amount they want to accept.
Okay. The questions keep moving here as people are typing them. So I have a question and then it moves. So the next question I'm going to take is the Bobcat grant renewed every year? Yes. When a student does their FAFSA or the California Dream Act application, the Bobcat grant is renewed every year. Again, based on your eligibility, you will be awarded a Bobcat grant, every year. So yes, every year once you do your application and you're awarded, you will know whether or not you're awarded a Bobcat grant. The next question I'm going to take, it says, how do you know if you are applicable for work study? You should have, if you are awarded federal work study, you should have received that in your award letter. And if you didn't receive an award letter, if you log into your portal and you've been packaged, you should be able to see if you've been awarded federal work study on your UC Merced portal, okay?
So next question, I submitted all my documents, but I haven't received my financial aid package yet. So it looks like the student has also been trying to contact our office. So if you haven't received your financial aid award yet, it might be because you do not have our school code added to your FAFSA or California Dream Act. So our school code for UC Merced is 041271. So if you go back to your FAFSA or California Dream Act and add our school code, we will be able to load in your application and give you a financial aid package. And you can definitely try to give us a call. You can call us at 209-228-7178, and that would take you directly to talk to the Students First Center. And if you just tell them that you want to speak with a financial aid advisor, we would be more than happy to help you.
Okay, so the next question I'm going to take is it possible to receive a higher amount of Bobcat grant year by year? Yes. So again, depending on your financial aid application, the amounts of awarding that you're going to get is going to be based off of your financial aid application. So every year, your financial aid could be different, not just your Bobcat grant, but any other awards could either be taken away, maybe something else will be increased. So again, every year that you do a financial aid application, all your financial aid could vary. So I'm going to take the next question. It says, to cover the cost of attendance, will I have to take a loan and then pay back the loan back with work study, or can I only do work study to cover the cost of attendance? Okay, so one of the important things that we seen in the webinar was that direct cost. If you do the direct cost specifically for the student, you will be able to see whether or not you need to take a loan to help pay the remaining cost. You might not have to. However, you might have to take a loan, okay? The work study will not be able to pay whatever balance you have, because the work study, you need to get that money in a form of a job. So let's say a student was awarded $2,000 in work study. Just because you have that money in a work study will not be given to you to go pay to your direct cost. So you will get that money in a form of a paycheck, and then you could use to buy, you know, if you get a job, your books, or go out and buy some of your anything that you may need. But work study will not be able, you won't be able to use it to help pay for your direct cost, but a loan might. But again, if you do the direct cost, you will be able to see whether or not you need to take out a loan, or maybe if you don't want a loan, maybe how much you will have to pay out of pocket. And then the next question that I'm going to take is, can you be exempt from housing your freshman year? So you would have to speak with somebody in housing in regards to this question. And then they will be able to help you whether or not you would be able to not be on campus for your freshman year. One thing that I can tell you is that if you go from on campus, off campus, or at home, that does impact your cost of attendance, will then impact your financial aid awards. So you are awarded based off of the cost of attendance if you're on campus, at home, or off campus. So if your housing does change, then your financial aid package may change. Well, most likely it will change once you change your cost of attendance. Okay, the next question I'm going to take is, can outside scholarships reduce the amount of financial aid that I would receive? And yes, depending on the amount of scholarships that you are receiving, it may impact your financial aid. Okay, so depending on the amount of your scholarship. However, let's say that you're getting $5,000 in a scholarship. Most likely we will start reducing your loans and possibly your federal work study before we start reducing any of your grant aid. Okay, so yes, scholarships will impact your financial aid. It just depends on you, the student, as in how is it going to impact your financial aid award.
So our next question is, how can I access the direct cost worksheet? So if you go to My Financial Aid, or actually financialaid.ucmerced.edu/direct cost, that's where it'll give you a direct link to the direct cost worksheet. And then it'll also prompt you to log in using your UC Merced username and password. And once you do that, it'll populate all your information.
Okay, the next question I'm going to take, it says, how does the aid you receive apply if you want to study abroad? So essentially, if you want to be a student that will be studying abroad, your financial aid package goes wherever you go. So if you're going to be, let's say, going to study in Mexico, your financial aid package will go with you essentially to Mexico based off of the cost of attendance of your study abroad package. So yes, it does apply to your study abroad. And if you do have more questions about study abroad, I would encourage you to speak to somebody in the international office about study abroad. But yes, I highly encourage students, if they are interested, to go to study abroad, because your financial aid package essentially just goes with you wherever you go.
All right, so our next question, it says, my estimated direct cost is $31,000, which includes tuition and fees, room and board, and then it says, and they are receiving a total of $25,911 in grant aid, which is money that the student does not have to pay back. Does this mean I am under the Blue and Gold program? So yes, you are. The Blue and Gold program promises to pay system-wide tuition and fees, which is around $12,570. And so if you already receive at least $12,570 in gift aid, you are already under the Blue and Gold program.
Okay. The next questions, the first one I'm going to take, it says, where do we turn in the statement of legal residency application? I would encourage you to speak with somebody at the Students First Center, and they'll be able to help you with that if you're not able to do it through your portal. So I would highly encourage you to speak with somebody at the Students First Center, and their phone number is 209-228-7178. And again, the Students First Center is our one-stop shop, and they can answer any of your questions in regards to the Office of the Registrar, financial aid, admission. So I would highly encourage you to give them a call, and if they can answer your call, then they would go ahead and transfer it to the department that needs your question, okay?
So our next question is, what is a special circumstance form? So the special circumstances appeal form is for students who are facing special circumstances and they feel that the income that they reported for 2018 does not reflect the income that the parents are receiving for 2020. It's also when students lose their job or anything related to a special circumstance. You would be able to do our special circumstances appeal form, and you should be able to find this on our website. Our live form or our form for our special circumstance appeal does go live June 1st. So you won't be able to access the form for 2020, 2021 until June 1st. But yes, definitely if you feel like your parents are not earning or the same income as 2020, then they can definitely submit a special circumstance appeal. The appeal is pretty lengthy, so they are not reviewed until the semester starts. And so students do have to accept their financial aid as is and plan accordingly, and then we would review the special circumstances appeal.
Okay, so the first question I'm going to take right now, it says, for work study interview, does previous experience affect your chances of getting the work study job? One thing to keep in mind here is that when you're getting a federal work study job, it's like any job that you're going to get. So essentially, maybe your experience is going to impact the employer that wants to hire you because you have some experience. So it's like if you were going to get a job at Target, it would be the same thing, except it's a federal work study job. So keep that in mind when you're applying for a job. Make sure you have a good resume, and even the Center for Career and Professional Advancements, they could help you with your resume or maybe even some interview questions. So I would highly encourage you to reach out to them if you do have questions about that, okay? The next question I'm gonna take, it says the Bobcat Grant, federal Pell Grant amount on the letter from the mail, is that guaranteed or is it an estimate? Depending on the student, whether or not they've been selected or not selected for verification, or if you make any changes to your FAFSA or your California DREAM Act application, that money can be an estimate or a guarantee, again, based off of that student, okay? And if you do have questions in regards to your financial aid package, I would highly encourage you, again, to go to our website, read about any of our grant aid, or reach out to us if you do have questions about your specific award letter and award package.
So our next question is, what if I have not received my financial aid package? Does that mean I won't get any financial aid? So if students have not received their financial aid package, like I said, it can be because they did not add our school to their financial aid application, whether it was the FAFSA or California DREAM Act. So please go back to application, make sure that you have added our school code. And again, our school code is 041271. And then once we do receive your application, we will load in your FAFSA or California DREAM Act within 7 to 14 business days.
Okay, I'll go ahead and take the next question. It says, I have a question. The portal tells me I've been admitted. If I SIR now, it means that I accept the offer and I have to pay everything right away because I don't know yet if I'm attending UC Merced because of the money, but I don't have the financial aid package yet. Okay, when you decide to SIR at UC Merced, It's just your student intent to register, indicating that you are planning on coming to UC Merced. Bills for students are not due until sometime in August, so you don't have to pay right away. Again, once we get your financial aid package, and if you are awarded and selected for verification, then your financial aid gets applied to your bill, but this won't be until sometime in August. So even if you do plan on serving, you don't have to pay right away. And we're gonna go ahead and add the link to the direct cost worksheet on some of the answers, even if it's not the correct answer. I'm just gonna go ahead and put the link so you guys can go ahead and get it. If not, you could also find it on our website.
So the next question is, what documents do we need to turn in by June 1st? So if you go on your portal, myucmerced.edu, you will be able to see what documents are due by June 1st, but typically they are any verification documents that our office is asking for. So it can include your parents' 2018 income taxes, and it can include the dependent verification or students' W-2 forms if they work in 2018. So definitely view your checklist at myucmerced.edu, and you'll be able to see what documents are due by June 1st.
Okay, the next question I'm going to take, can I get a loan under my name even if I am not 18? The answer to that is yes. So a student will be awarded their loans, again, based off of their eligibility. They're going to be awarded their loans, and they should be able to see their loans that they are awarded. And again, they're normally the student sub loan and the student unsub loan for students, depending again on what you're eligible for, maybe both or maybe just one. So again, you should be able to find that under your portal. And the way you're going to get these loans is by doing your master promissory note and entrance counseling, okay? That's how you're going to get your loans. The Parent Plus loan is a loan for the parent and not the student.
Next question, it says, on the worksheet, what does it mean when the balance is in red? Do you have to pay out of pocket? Yes. So whenever you see a balance that is in red, that means that you either have to pay out of pocket, and paying out of pocket, you can actually do the payment in 4 installments if you do enroll in the deferred payment plan with business and financial services. And if not, then you can use self-help aid, which includes your loans.
Okay, one of the questions that I seen was if I call the number and if I want specifics about my direct cost and my award letter, how can I speak to a financial aid advisor? Again, if you contact the Students First Center, it's a great office and they're most likely able to answer most of your financial aid questions. However, if you do want to speak specifically to a financial aid advisor, or maybe they can't answer your questions, they're going to refer you to my department, and then from my department, you're going to speak to one of us, and then we will go ahead and give you more specifics about your direct cost, award letter, financial aid package, whatever questions you may have. It'll get transferred to us if they can't answer your questions. Okay, the next question that I'm going to take is, if someone awarded housing, does that cover the food plan for financial aid? So again, on our direct cost and on the housing website, you'll be able to see the housing charges if you're in a single, double, triple, or quad. And then they'll also be giving you the meal plan. So you'll be able to select essentially your meal plan and your housing. If you decide to serve here, that's where you'll start. And then you select your housing plan and you select your meal plan. And then you put that in your direct cost. And once you put that on your direct cost, then essentially you'll be able to see whether or not you're going to have to pay out of pocket, or with your financial aid, is everything taken care of.
The next question says, I received my financial aid award letter through the mail. How do I access it on my portal? So you can actually, like we said, go to myucmerced.edu, and then it'll prompt you to log in, and then I can go access with you if you have your laptop open. So once you go to myucmerced.edu, on the left-hand side, there are a lot of tabs that students can click on, and one of them includes My Financial Aid. So once you click on My Financial Aid, it'll take you to a different site, and it'll say accept or decline awards. So once you accept or decline awards, once you click on that tab, it'll take you to select the appropriate award year. So you click on that drop down menu and you click fall 2020, spring 2021. And once you click on that, there will be different tabs that you can click on, and you click on award overview. That's how you can access your awards using your portal.
The next question I'm going to take, it says, my direct costs, you mean tuition and fees, right? So on the webinar that will be available to students to go back and reference, your direct costs essentially are your tuition and fees, and that includes the regular tuition, and that includes your housing fees and your meal plan. That also includes your health insurance if you decide to do health insurance or waive out of it. So those are the direct costs that are going to be charged to you directly, okay? So essentially transportation is not going to be billed to you directly. Also personal stuff is not going to be billed to you directly. The direct cost is what the institution is going to bill you, the student, directly for coming to school at UC Merced. So that's the direct cost, okay? So that's what you're going to be charged directly, okay? And I'm going to go ahead and again add the link to the direct cost worksheet.
So our next question says, my financial aid situation has changed. My mom has been laid off due to COVID-19. How do I ask the UC Merced office for more aid? So students and families who have been affected by COVID-19 can actually do a special circumstances appeal with our office, and that's the appeal that I described earlier. And the appeals, like I said, won't go live until June 1st, but definitely students can submit this appeal, and we will consider students for more aid in case parents, lost their job or are working less hours.
Okay, the next question I'm going to take, it says, I filled out my proof of citizenship. How long will it take for my status to be reviewed so I can receive my aid? On our website, we have a great timeline that explains when you submit a document, how long it'll go from received, not yet reviewed, and then how long it'll take our office to review the document. And normally it takes our office about 2 weeks to review a document that has been received and deemed satisfied. It'll take our office about 2 weeks after that to go ahead and award you your financial aid award. If you do have questions, again, specifically about your citizenship or after you've submitted it, because the status will be updated on your portal to receive not yet reviewed once we received it. Once we receive it, again, then we'll review it and deem it satisfactory, incomplete. Once we deem it satisfactory, 2 weeks from that or less, you should be able to get your award letter from our office.
So our next question says, how will I know if I receive the Blue and Gold grant? Students can know if they receive the Blue and Gold grant if they have at least $12,570 in gift aid. Gift aid includes the Cal grant, the Pell grant, and the Bobcat grant. So if you are already receiving at least $12,570 in gift aid, money that does not have to be repaid, then you're already under the Blue and Gold program.
The next question I'm going to take, it's asking about interest rates for students. And for right now, the current interest rate, and I'm going to go ahead and look at my notes. So the interest rate for the current academic year, so the 2019-2020 academic year, the sub loan and the unsubsidized loan, the interest rate at the moment for student is 4.53%. Okay, so that's the student's interest rate for the sub and the unsub. The subsidized loan is the one that doesn't occur interest while the student is in school, and the unsubsidized loan is the one that does occur interest while the student is in school. Both of the loans don't need to be repaid until 6 months after the student stops attending or falls below less than half time. So that means if you're a continuous student and you're here for 4 years, once you graduate 6 months after that, that's when the repayment process will start for your loans, okay? If you want to pay your loans while you're in school, you can go ahead and pay your loans. You would have to then contact your loan servicer at that point to set up payments or to give them a call so you can start paying your loans, okay? So again, the interest rate, and I'll go ahead and put it in one of the typed answers, is the interest rate for the student is the 4.53% for the sub and the unsubsidized loan, okay? The parent loan, if you were offered a parent loan, the parent loan interest rate is 7.08%. The parent loan, again, is for the parent, and the parent would have to then pay that loan, and that's the interest rate, the 7.08%.
So our next question says, for any outstanding student balances, are they charges at the beginning of the semester, academic year, or can you pay throughout the semester? So students will be charged for first semester, so they will be charged for the fall semester beginning sometime in June, where you'll be able to see the charges on your My Bill. And if you do not have enough gift aid to cover those fall charges, then you can enroll in the deferred payment plan, where you can do payments in 4 installments. And you definitely do have to contact Business and Financial Services to enroll in the program.
The next question I'm going to take, it says, what if I haven't gotten any financial aid package, or does that mean I won't get any financial aid? If you've already done your financial aid application, so your FAFSA, your California Dream Act, and you haven't been awarded through our office, at this point, I would encourage you to give us a call, because there could have been an issue with your social security number. There could have been an issue with the name that you listed on either application. Maybe you didn't add our school code to your financial aid application, and that's why we haven't packaged you yet. Because at this point, if you've done your financial aid application as of last week, you should have received already a financial aid package from our office. And if you haven't received that, there has to be some kind of issue with your financial aid application and your information that we have through your admissions application. So at this point, I would highly encourage you to give us a call so we could find out where your financial aid application is and why we don't have it. But in the meantime, I would highly encourage you to go to your FAFSA or your California Dream Act application and make sure that you do have our school code listed. Okay. The next question I'm gonna take, it says, can we do a payment plan? Okay. So if you do decide to come to UC Merced, again, your bill is not due till August. UC Merced does have the deferred payment plan. Okay. The deferred payment plan is with, they just changed their name. So it's essentially what's
Business and Financial Services.
Yes, thank you, Tanya. And they have the deferred payment plan. So let's say, for example, you have a $4,000 balance, okay? If you have a $4,000 balance, that's gonna be separated in 4 installments. The first one due in August, and September, October, November. Since it gets split in 4 ways, it would be essentially $1,000 due every month. So there is a payment plan that is not with our office. If you do decide to serve, and once you get there, then we would essentially give you more information about that through that other office.
And if y'all want to take down the number, so the number for Business and Financial Services is 209-228-4114. So if you do have questions about the deferred payment plan, you can definitely give them a call.
Okay, so then the next question I'm going to take is, if our application we put we are going to live off campus, how do we change that so that we are going to live on campus? So if you want to make sure that you are packaged as a student either living on campus or as a student living off campus. So you want to make sure that you are already awarded correctly based off of your living situation, okay? However, if you are planning on living on campus and you're currently off campus, what will happen is our office sometime in June or July, once we receive a notification from housing that you are a student living on campus, we will then go ahead and update your financial aid package to a student living on campus, and we will update everything automatically and you don't have to do anything else, okay? However, so just make sure that you're awarded already correctly, whether you're on or off campus. But if you are planning on living on campus, you would then just wait until we get notification from housing that you're living on campus, and then we would then budget you then. If you do want to know already what your financial aid package would look like sooner than later, then I would encourage you to give us a call so we could go ahead and make those adjustments already.
All right, so next question is, how do I do the verification process? Students who were selected for verification by the Department of Education can complete the verification process by turning in all the documents on their checklist, and they can see all these documents if they go to myucmerced.edu. And then if they kind of scroll down, they can see a checklist. It'll have different requirements and the different offices that are requesting these documents. So if students turn in all those documents that are from our financial aid office, then we will definitely verify their file, and we will let you know once verification is complete.
The next question I'm going to take, it's talking about our direct cost. It says section B of the direct cost, is that an estimate or a guarantee? Again, based off of you, the student, what's specifically for you, that can be a guarantee or an estimate. And again, it's just based off of whether or not you're selected for verification at this moment. Then again, it would be an estimate until the verification process is completed. If you're not selected for verification, then I guess at this point, it would be essentially guaranteed what you're getting. That doesn't mean that it won't be changed later on if you make a change to your FAFSA, or mainly it's really a change to your FAFSA, or you want us to review your information all over to make sure it's correct, to see whether or not at that point you would get selected for verification. But again, it's specific to every student. So then the next question I'm going to take, it's talking about Dream Loan students. So it says the California Dream Loan classified as a student loan, do charges apply after graduating from UC Merced? So essentially, if you are either a FAFSA student or a California Dream Act student, essentially when it comes to the repayment process, it's exactly the same. The repayment process doesn't start until after you graduate from UC Merced or stop attending less than half time, okay? So the loans stay the same. For California Dream Act students, they only get the subsidized loan. So that one doesn't accrue interest while they're in school. The next question that I have, it says, if I have questions about my CalVet, who should I talk to? Well, one is if you are a CalVet recipient, you want to make sure and you speak to your veterans office. On the Office of the Registrar website, they do have information about a CalVet. How does that get applied? And it essentially goes through them, and then they notify our office that you're going to be receiving a CalVet. Based off of your financial aid package of what you're awarded, your CalVet may or may not impact your financial aid award letter. So I would encourage you to start with your local veterans office to make sure you do what you need to do to get your CalVet fee waiver. Then you need to make sure and submit the documents needed with the Office of the Registrar.
So next question says, is it too late to apply for the Blue and Gold program? If you already completed your financial aid application and you can already see your awards, and if you do get at least $1,570 in gift aid, then you're already under the Blue and Gold program. You don't necessarily apply to it. You are considered for if your parents make less than $80,000 a year.
Okay. The next question I'm going to take, it says you're having trouble submitting proof of citizenship. It didn't go through. That they submitted it via email, but they haven't received a reply back. So what I would encourage you is, if you're trying to submit a document or you thought you did and it's not going through, you need to contact our office so we could essentially find out what's going on. And maybe if the email process is not coming in, then maybe at that point we're going to have you fax in your document to our office, or if the upload is not coming in good through your My Checklist, at that point we might have you just fax in the document so we could go ahead and start processing your document.
So next question, it says, if we received UC Merced FIALEX Scholars Program, how does this work? So students, in terms of financial aid, students who were accepted into the FIALEX program received $20,000 in gift aid for 4 years. If you see your financial aid package, if you're receiving at least $20,000 in gift aid, then you're already essentially receiving the promise of $20,000. Typically, for on-campus students do receive more gift aid than if they go off-campus, because cost of attendance on campus is definitely a lot higher than cost of attendance off-campus. And so students, even if they go off-campus, if they're in the FIALX program, they still get $20,000 in gift aid.
The next question I'm going to take, what is the CER deadline? So at the moment, the CER deadline is May 1st. So if you are planning on attending UC Merced, make sure that you CER no later than May 1st. The next question I have is your financial aid package for the semester or the whole year? You're awarded for the whole year at UC Merced, and that being the fall and the spring semester. So you are awarded based off of your financial aid application for the full year, which is the fall semester and the spring semester. The next question I have, is it possible to get a job on campus within a month? Depending on what's available, again, because it would be, again, like any other job, maybe you could get a job sooner than that, or maybe you might have to wait longer than that. So again, it's just based off of eligibility and who's hiring at the moment. So I would, again, highly encourage you to contact the Center for Career and Professional Advancements sooner than later, especially if you are planning on coming to UC Merced to get more information about job availability.
Our next question is, if I were to choose to live at home instead of on campus, will I receive less money? So you would, because cost of attendance for on campus is a lot more expensive than off. And however, students that are freshmen do have to live on campus for 2 years. So if you do plan to live at home or off campus, you would definitely have to contact housing to appeal, because like I said, freshmen are required to live on campus for 2 years.
Question I'm going to take, it says, if I agree with the financial aid award terms and conditions, does that mean I have to go to that school? So no, by you accepting your financial aid terms and conditions doesn't mean that you're accepting the financial aid here, because if you don't CER here, then essentially you're not going to be a registered student here, so you're not going to receive any financial aid at UC Merced. So the answer to that is no. So by just accepting the terms and conditions, that doesn't mean that you have to come to UC Merced. Unless you CER here, then that means that you'll be coming to school at UC Merced. There are some questions about housing and CAT dollars. So what I would encourage you is, if you do have questions about housing, about selecting your dorm, or about the money that you want to be used for your CAT dollars, I would highly encourage you to speak with somebody in housing, and they would then give you a breakdown essentially of the CAT dollars, how they can be used, because I want to say that it's mainly used like regular money that you have. However, you would have to speak with somebody in housing to give you the specifics about your CAT dollars, again, your meal plan, and your living situation, whether it's a single, double, triple, or quad.
Our next question is, if you have qualifying health insurance, is the health insurance fee still applied? If students have health insurance already and don't want to purchase UC Merced's health insurance, you can definitely contact health services at UC Merced, and they can waive out of the health insurance from the university, and so they won't get charged.
Okay, I have a question that says, where can I go back to this video and another time I missed something? This webinar will be available to you guys after the webinar is over, so then you could go back and view the video if you do have any questions, or just to reference it back. Some of the questions that I have on here, it's about the Fiat Lux program that we have. So if you are a Fiat Lux scholar, on the award letter that you received, there is a phone number and a contact person from our office to contact. I would highly encourage you to contact her or give us a call at the Students First Center to get your specific questions answered about that program, because again, it just depends on the student. And then yes, if you are a Fiat Lux student, you do have to live on campus. So I'll go ahead and answer that question. But if you do have more specifics about your Fiat Lux program and scholarship, I would highly encourage you to contact the person listed on the letter that you received. So one of the other questions that I have, it's indicating that if we're open, and if you guys can give us a call. Yes, we are open. We are working remotely. However, your questions will be answered, and we will give you a call back if you have a question, or we need to give you a call back if it's not answered by the Students First Center. So yes, give us a call if you do have questions about anything, whether it's housing, registrar, admissions, financial aid. Yes, we are open, and you can go ahead and give us a call.
Our
And
next
then,
question.
sorry,
Are you gonna answer one, Letty?
I just wanted to say that the webinar recording will be available at admitted.ucmerced.edu /webinars. It'll be available in a few days.
All right, so next question is, if you decide to do the health insurance waiver, will it affect the amount of aid you will get? So it won't affect it because your package is assuming that you would waive the health insurance.
The next question, it talks about what is the release of information to parents, authorization requirements, will a non-custodial parent receive rights to view the information? So for financial aid purposes, if you release the information to the parent, it's going to be the parent listed on your FAFSA. So, and your California Dream Act application. So we're going to verify that information if the parent is calling. So it will only be with the parent listed on your financial aid application who we are going to be releasing information to. So if it's not a person listed on the FAFSA, we won't release any information. And if you do want us to release that information, we would highly encourage you to be on the phone with the parent. So essentially they could hear what we're, the information that either you want to hear or they want to hear, because we won't release information to the parent not listed on your financial aid application.
So the next question is, can students under the Blue and Gold Opportunity Plan still take out loans or do work study? Yes, so if you are under the Blue and Gold program and you're receiving at least the $12,570 and you are also offered federal work study and loans, you can definitely take advantage of all those things.
So one of the questions that I'm getting is the scholarship that UC Merced offers renewable? Depending on your financial aid application that you're going to do every year, essentially that's what you want to do every year, and that's what we're going to base your financial aid package based off your financial aid application that you do every year. Depending if you are getting institutional scholarships awarded to you, you will have to do an application on your second year. So now as you're going to be a sophomore, you have to do the continuing scholarship application. As a freshman student or as a junior being admitted to UC Merced, you're automatically considered for all institutional scholarships that are available. But as essentially possibly a second year, then you would have to do the continuing scholarship application with our office to get your scholarship renewed.
So our next question is, what exactly does getting selected for verification mean? When you are selected for verification by the Department of Education, it pretty much means that the Department of Education wants our office to verify the information you reported on your FAFSA or California Dream Act. And what we do is we just ask you to submit your income taxes for 2018. And we also verify the household size and number in college. And once we review that and nothing changes, then your financial aid award will definitely not change.
The next question that I'm going to take, it says, a student is selected for verification, and it's talking about the non-filing letter that dependent students don't have to submit, and they didn't file taxes. So how do they go about completing this? I would encourage you to give our office a call, because at this moment, if you are a dependent student, you shouldn't have had that requirement listed on your My Checklist. However, if it is listed on your My Checklist, then that might mean that something is wrong with your financial aid application. So I would highly encourage you, if you do have questions about some of the requirements listed on your My Checklist, to contact our office. Another question that I'm seeing throughout is also, how do I know what do I need to submit? What don't I need to submit? All the information that you need to submit to our office, any documents, will be listed on your My Checklist. So if you hear me talking about verification or your taxes or wages, if you don't have to submit that, that's because it's not listed on your My Checklist, and maybe you're not selected for verification. So if you do have documents listed on your My Checklist, that means that you have to submit that information to our office no later than the due date listed on your My Checklist, to receive your financial aid. Okay, so everything that we communicate with the student is through their My Checklist and through their UC Merced portal. The next question I'll take is, can undocumented students do work study? Essentially, if you are eligible to work, then you can get a job on campus, whether it's federal work study or not, non-federal work study job, if you're eligible to work. So you would then have to contact the the Center for Career and Professional Advancements to see what jobs are available, or if you have questions about job, I would highly encourage you to give them a call. But again, if you're eligible to work, you can get a job on campus. It would just be not a federal work study job, but a work study job.
So next question, it says, how can I waive out of the health insurance fee? So you can waive out of it by contacting health services. And let me look up their number so that I can just give it to you all. So the number for health services is 209-228-2273. So you can definitely contact them directly.
The next questions that I have, again, it's about the Fiat Lux program. How is it offered, and who is eligible for it? If you were eligible for the for the Fiat Lux program and the scholarship, you would have received a letter in the mail. And if you do have questions about the Fiat Lux program, again, I highly encourage you to give us a call contact the person listed on the form, or give a call to our office to speak to a financial aid advisor in regards to any of the programs that we have that you have questions about. The next question that I'm going to take, it says, new students are required to live on campus for 2 years, but what if I want to live more than 2 years on campus because I live too far and I want to live on campus? So you are eligible to live on campus. Again, this is more of a housing question. Once you are going on your 3rd year and you want to live on campus, you have to submit a request to live on campus to the housing office. But if you do have more questions about that, you would then have to speak with somebody in housing. Okay.
So the next question, it says, what do you mean by subsidized and unsubsidized loan? So both of these loans are offered by the Department of Education, and both of them have the same interest rate, which is 4.53%. The only difference is that for the subsidized loan, the Department of Education pays for the interest while students are in school. And then the unsubsidized interest starts accruing when the student takes out the loan. And then another thing is both loans can be paid if either the student graduates or falls below half-time. So a student, let's say, only takes 4 units, that's falling below half-time, and that's when student has to start the repayment process.
Next question I'm going to take, it says, I submitted my FAFSA back in November, but you didn't add the UC Merced school code. Are you still going to be eligible for financial aid at UC Merced because you're just adding our school code? The important thing to keep in mind here, as long as you did your financial aid application, whether your FAFSA or your California Dream Act, and you did it prior to the March 2nd priority deadline, you're going to be eligible for the maximum amount of grant aid, because you still did your financial aid application no later than the March 2nd deadline, even if you added our school code after the fact. So you could always add our school code after the fact, and you will be awarded what you are eligible for as long as you did your application no later than the March 2nd deadline. The next question that I'm going to take, it says, I'm a dependent student. However, I have questions on some of the documents that are on my checklist. I would then encourage you again to give our office a call so we can go ahead and go over the specifics about the documents listed on your My Checklist. Because if you do have questions about them, we could go ahead and walk you through the process of what it is that you need to submit to our office. The next question that I'm going to take, it says, where do I find the dependency override form? Okay. If you have questions about dependency, whether being a dependent student or independent student, it's going to be based off of the individual. So I would encourage you to give our office a call at that moment, so we could tell you whether or not you would qualify for a dependency override or you are considered a dependent student. Okay. So like one of the big questions that we have is, my parents don't claim me on my taxes, so I need to be considered an independent student. So no, just because you do your taxes independently and your parents don't claim you anymore, that doesn't give you a dependency override. Okay, so again, based off of the student's current situation and what's going on, then we can let you know whether or not you do qualify for a dependency override. But at that point, it's based off of the individual student. So I would encourage you to give us a call.
The next question is, based on my financial aid package, where do I find if I am eligible for Federal Work Study? If you already see your financial aid package and you don't see Federal Work Study under your financial aid package, then you're most likely not receiving Federal Work Study. And another question is, can undocumented students who are not eligible to work do work study? So unfortunately, Federal Work Study is only for students who are FAFSA filers. So if you completed a California Dream Act, you wouldn't be eligible for the Federal Work Study program. And then if you are looking for jobs and you are not eligible to work, we do have an Undocumented Student Resource Center where students get more information on getting additional gift aid, if they need emergency funding, or if they just need additional support. And I will put the link on this chat.
The next two questions that I'm going to take, the first one, it says, I just added the UC Merced school code to my financial aid application. When will I get my award letter? After you add our school code, I would encourage you to give us between probably more like 10 to 14 days for us to process that change or get your application actually. So I would give our office between 10 to 14 days. However, I would go ahead and maybe at the end of every week, check your portal to see whether or not we've packaged you. So again, give us 10 to 14 days from the date you added our school code to process your financial aid application. The next question I'm gonna take, it talks about the non-residency tuition, if you have to do the statement of legal residency or your AB 540. Those two things that you would have to do is with the Office of the Registrar. So if you do have questions about that because you can't do it through your portal, I would encourage you to give the Students First Center a call in regards to your AB 540 or your statement of legal residency that you have to submit to the Office of the Registrar so you could be considered a resident student. The next question I'm going to take, it says, how do I get my financial aid letter? You should have received one from our office already. If you haven't received one, again, check your financial aid application, make sure that you added our school code or contact our office. If not, you should be able to log into your portal to view your financial aid award through your portal, which would be the same thing as the award letter if you haven't received it. Because we go ahead and we mail your financial aid award letter based off of the address that you listed on your application. So whether the address you listed on your FAFSA or your California Dream Act application.
Okay, so another question is, so can we only do a work study if there's a work study listed under your financial aid, or can anyone apply for a work study? So if you do not see federal work study on your financial aid, then you're most likely not getting federal work study. However, students can still find jobs that are not specifically federal work study on campus. And students can work in the cafeteria, in the library. So not all jobs require federal work study. So you can definitely find a job on campus that is not federal work study.
I apologize, but we're going through the questions here and some of them are repetitive. So we want to make sure that we get to the questions that haven't been answered on the Q&As available. One of the questions that I do have is, how will I know if I am awarded a middle class scholarship? So the middle class scholarship is essentially with the California Student Aid Commission. So maybe if you didn't get a Cal Grant, then you would possibly be eligible for a middle class scholarship. One of the ways you can check whether or not for a middle class scholarship and or for a Cal Grant, if you're eligible, is through web grants. So you can go ahead and check your web grants if you haven't done that already to see whether or not you're eligible. Some middle class scholarships, however, are not awarded until possibly June or July if you are eligible for that with the California Student Aid Commission. So if you're not awarded anything at this moment, you could go ahead and speak to them. If not, you would just wait a little bit to see whether or not you're eligible for a middle class scholarship. The next question that I'll take is does verification affect your original financial aid award? And yes, that is correct. It will impact your financial aid award letter that you receive if you are selected. So for example, if some of the information you put on your FAFSA was not incorrect based off of the verification documents you submitted to our office, then yes, it can impact your financial aid package.
So another question that I see here is, where can I submit an AB 540 form, or how do I know if the school has received it? If you didn't upload it using your checklist, and if you do have this requirement, you can call the Students First Center and you can just check the status of your form. And the Students First Center is 209-228-7178.
The next question that I'm going to take, it says, can the Cal Grant help with payments for UC Merced? So what happens is essentially all of your grant aid and or loans that you accept will be applied to your bill at UC Merced if you are planning on coming to UC Merced, like I indicated. Your bill will be due sometime in August. If you are planning on coming here, then essentially your financial aid based off of whatever you've accepted will be applied to your bill. Okay, so yes, so essentially your Cal Grant, your loans, all your financial aid package would be applied to your bill at UC Merced. One of the questions is about accessing your financial aid through your portal or accessing some of the documents. It's all through your UC Merced portal, and if you do have questions or you have trouble navigating it, I would highly encourage you to speak with somebody at the Students First Center because they'll be able to essentially possibly walk you through. If not, I'm pretty sure that they have helpful information on their website in regards to navigating your portal.
All right, so next question is, new students are required to live on campus for 2 years, but what if I want to live more than 2 years on campus because my residence is too far away from campus? So we do prioritize students for their first 2 years on campus, and if you are a third year or fourth year and you still want to live on campus, it would most likely be like a lottery system, so you can definitely apply for housing, and it just depends on whether there's availability. But even if you don't live on campus, there's a lot of rooms available, and a lot of students post different housing opportunities on the Facebook UC Merced Classifieds page, so students usually find their housing options there if they're not going to live on campus.
Some of the questions that I see here on the Q&As are very specific to the student. So I'm not going to go ahead and answer those. I would encourage you to give us a call or email our office so we can go over the specifics of your students as to maybe why they were eligible for what they were eligible for in regards to grant aid. So I would then encourage you to give us a call if you want to know specifics about your students' financial aid package, okay? If you do have questions, anything about housing or meal plan or cap dollars, again, that is something that you want to speak with housing in regards to all that information, okay? And and again, they'll help you with that. If not, you could go to their website and you could actually get the breakdown of the fees. Again, if you do have questions about your My Checklist, because I'm looking at the Q&As, if you do have questions about some of the things on your My Checklist and how to satisfy those or take care of them, I would highly encourage you to either contact that department or contact the Students First Center, because they'll be able to help you in regards to your checklist items, whether they're financial aid or admissions or any other department, they'll be able to help you there. So again, if you do have questions, because there's quite a few questions about Better Work Study, I would encourage you to go to our website. If you do have further questions about Better Work Study and again how it works, I would encourage you to give us an email because again, it's just more repetitive. If you are awarded Better Work Study money, how you can get a job, going to the Center for Career and Professional Advancement, you get that money in the form of a paycheck every 2 weeks or so, based on the number of hours you work. And again, that's going to be based off of your employer. So you want to go ahead and if you do have further questions about Better Work Study, you want to go ahead and email us at that point. One of the questions that I have, if I want to change my major, how do I go about that? You want to speak with somebody at the Students First Center and they'll be able to help you with things that don't have to do with financial aid. They're a great office and a great department, and they'll help you with any other questions that you may have.
Another question I see here is, if I apply to a job that is not from Work Study, would it affect me in any way? It just depends on how much you earned for that year. So for example, if you worked in 2020, the amount that you earned in 2020 would affect you 2 years after, because remember, you use income information from 2 years prior. So if you end up working in a job that's not for Work Study, you have to report those wages on your FAFSA California payment, and that might affect how much financial aid you do receive for the school year.
One of the questions that I have is they want to know about the cost of attendance at UC Merced, how to live on campus and, or off campus. I would encourage you to go to our website so you can go get a breakdown of a student living on campus, at home, or off campus. So if you go to our website and click on the cost of attendance, you'll be able to see the cost of attendance to come to UC Merced. And again, it'll give you the breakdown of tuition and fees, room and board, transportation, things of that nature. One of the questions that I have is, how would I know the total due after financial aid is applied? If you do the direct cost worksheet that should be in some of the typed answers, the link or our website, you should be able to see what's going to be due again. Once you apply your direct cost minus your grant aid or your self-help aid, which is your loans, then you can see how much you'll have to pay after all that is applied. Another question, does a grant given by Merced cover all 4 years while attending UC Merced? Again, it depends year by year based off of your financial aid application. So based off of your financial aid application, you're awarded every year. So it can be different every year again.
So one of the questions is, what if I submitted my FAFSA after the March 2nd? How will that affect me? So that will definitely affect you if you were eligible for the Bobcat grant, because if students submitted their application after the March 2nd deadline, then they wouldn't be considered for any Bobcat grant.
One of the questions says, how much scholarship money would be enough to affect the financial aid package? Again, this question is very specific to every student based off of their financial aid package and the scholarship money that they're getting. So everything is based off of the student, whether or not it will impact your grant aid at UC Merced, or if it will only impact your self-help aid, which is like your loans and your federal work study. One of the questions that I have, which is a question that we do get a lot, it says, can I be awarded both the Cal Grant and the Blue and Gold Scholarship? So essentially, the Blue and Gold Opportunity Program and the Cal Grant, they're both taking care of the same thing. They're both taking care of your tuition and fees, okay? So you can only get one or the other and not both, because they're both paying the same thing, okay? So the Cal Grant is only tuition paying, grant aid, and the Blue and Gold Opportunity Plan, if you're eligible for it, that's also tuition paying. So you could only get one or the other, okay? Not both. So even if you say that, even if your award letter possibly indicated that you're eligible for the Blue and Gold Opportunity Plan, that's if you weren't awarded a Cal Grant, okay? So if you weren't awarded a Cal Grant, then essentially you would then possibly be eligible for the Blue and Gold Opportunity Plan based off of your financial aid application, but you could only get one or the other and not both.
So another question I see here is, if I accept the award for federal work study, do I have to work? So if you accept your federal work study award and you decide not to work, nothing will happen to that award. It'll just stay accepted until you do decide to find a job on campus. And then that's when you can start getting the payments once you get the job. But you won't get charged or anything like that if you decide to accept it and not work.
The next question that I seen here, it said, if I want to make my decision sooner than later to attend UC Merced or not attend UC Merced, but my citizenship document hasn't been reviewed and I've already submitted it. If you do essentially have questions about your documents or being packaged, I would highly encourage you to contact our office sooner than later, especially if you're unsure as to what institution you want to attend and you want to know your financial aid package at UC Merced. I would highly encourage you to contact our office so you can get a financial aid package from UC Merced. The next question I'm going to take is how do we know if we get anything for a Pell Grant? If you were already receiving your, if you already received your financial aid award package or letter from UC Merced, on there you would have already received, on there it should be already listed on your letter or on your portal, a Pell Grant if you were eligible for a federal Pell Grant, okay? So you should have seen it in one or the other or both. If you are eligible for a Pell Grant, if you weren't awarded a federal Pell Grant, that means you weren't eligible for a Pell Grant, okay? The next question I'm going to take, is there any other information required besides the FAFSA to determine eligibility for the middle class scholarship? At this moment, if you did do a FAFSA or a California DREAM Act application, that's all you need to do at this moment to determine your eligibility with the middle class scholarship with the California Student Aid Commission. Okay, so that's the only thing you would need to do at this moment.
One of the questions I see is, will the office be able to pick up calls this Monday? Yes, we have financial aid advisors on call, and we are doing drop-in in the form of answering email and phone calls remotely. So we are available from Monday through Thursday, 8:30 to 4:30, and then Friday, 8:30 to 3.
One of the questions that I have is somebody accidentally did the wrong application. So instead of doing the 2021 application, either the FAFSA or the DREAM Act application, they actually did the 1920 application. If you did do that, I would encourage you to contact our office, especially if you did it after the March 2nd priority deadline, because we're going to ask you a few more questions. So if you did do the wrong financial aid application for the wrong age year, I would highly encourage you to contact our office, okay? The next question I'm gonna take, it talks about documents on your My checklist and you don't see anything. And another question is that you have questions about submitting some of them. If you don't have anything on your My checklist, then I wouldn't worry about it, because if you don't have nothing on your My checklist, then that means that you don't have to submit anything. However, if you do have more questions because maybe you don't have, you haven't been awarded at UC Merced, and maybe that's why you don't have anything on your My checklist, I would then encourage you to contact us at the Students First Center so we could figure out what's going on with yours, with the students specifically, their information.
So I have here a question that says, how do I know how much the total cost for me to attend out of pocket? And I know we've already answered this question, but just to reiterate, students can determine how much they will owe to the university by completing the direct cost worksheet. And if you go through there, you can see what you're paying directly to the university minus your gift aid, and that will give you your out-of-pocket costs.
One of the questions here talks about, I did a California DREAM Act application, but now I'm eligible to do a FAFSA. How do I make the change? If now you go from one application to the next application, I would highly encourage you to contact our office so that we can go ahead and make sure that we process the correct application. So if you are in that situation, whether you did a FAFSA and should have done a DREAM Act, or you did a DREAM Act and now you want us to process your FAFSA, you need to contact our office, okay? And again, some of the questions on the Q&As that we have available are very specific to certain students. So some of those questions are not going to be answered. I would just highly encourage you to contact our office so we can go in detail about your specific questions that you may have, because every student situation is different. Every financial aid is packaged based off of that student. So no student is the same, okay? So it's just based off of that student's financial aid application that they did. The next one that I'm going to go ahead and talk about says, I clicked on my financial aid tab and there was an error. Is there something wrong with my information? There can possibly be something wrong with your information. We might not have your FAFSA, and maybe that's why it's an error. At that point, if you do have questions about your portal or anything listed on your portal, I would encourage you to give us a call.
So I do see here a lot of questions that are related to the health insurance. And I'm just gonna, again, reiterate what we had just previously said. So if I have insurance for my dad, do I still have to pay for the insurance from the school? No, if you already have your own insurance, you can definitely waive out of it, and you won't be charged the health insurance fee from our school. You definitely have to contact health services for that.
I'm going to go ahead and take the question that says, how do I apply for the Blue and Gold Opportunity Plan? As long as you did a financial aid application, you will be automatically considered for the Blue and Gold Opportunity Plan. If you are eligible for the Blue and Gold Opportunity Plan, Those students will be determined, I want to say maybe sometime in August, if you are eligible for the Blue and Gold Opportunity Plan. If you are, you'll receive an email from our office if you are eligible for the Golden Opportunity Plan. So you don't have to do a separate application. It's just doing the FAFSA or the California Dream Act application. Another question that I have, it talks about a Cal Grant and that they needed to submit something else. So in order for a student to be eligible for a Cal Grant, it's again with the California Student Aid Commission. You did have to submit the California Dream Act application or the FAFSA no later than the March 2nd priority deadline. In addition, you also had to submit your GPA verification, but usually your high school submits that. So if you do have questions about your GPA verification form that maybe was or wasn't submitted to the California Student Aid Commission, if you're not eligible for a Cal Grant, I would encourage you to contact somebody at the California Student Aid Commission at Web Grants to find out if you're missing anything. If not, you could also speak with somebody at your high school. One of the questions that I see here is if I do have remaining aid that can be used for other expenses. So let's say, for example, that you did do the direct cost worksheet and instead of being in red, it's in green. That means that you would be getting a refund and you could be using that for other expenses. So if it is in green, essentially the remaining money that you do have, you could use for your other expenses such as books, transportation, anything that you may need for on campus, for your dorm, or for your apartment if you're living off campus. It says my AB 540 form was accepted. When my financial aid package be updated? So everything is going to be a timing. So once you submit your forms, the forms are reviewed and submitted and deemed satisfied. Then it's going to take again some time for us to package you. Again, information on the timeline is on our website, so you could go ahead and read more on that. But the AB 540 form, again with the statement of legal residency, is with the Office of the Registrar. So essentially it has to start in a different department, then it comes to us. One of the questions that I have is, I have two younger sisters who are each 1 year apart from me. They will be going to college. Will I be financially, get more financial help based off of more students in college? So the answer to that is yes. So based off of the information on your financial aid application, that's what we award essentially your financial aid package based off of your FAFSA or California Dream Act application. And one of the things that essentially that the FAFSA and the California Dream Act does is it does take a look at the number in the household and the number in college. So essentially, you may be eligible for more financial aid help, again, maybe possibly more grant aid if there are more students attending college. Again, that's going to be based off of other information on your financial aid application. So just because you possibly might have somebody else going to college, that doesn't mean it'll greatly impact you, because it looks at other variables as well on both your financial aid on your FAFSA and your California Dream Act application.
So one of the questions here, it says, if I fill out the special circumstance appeal in June and my financial aid is changed in some way, when would I see those results? When would I know if my financial aid did change or not? So students who complete the special circumstance appeal can either have their aid increase, decrease, or not change at all. But when we do start reviewing the special circumstances appeals, which would be after the fall semester begins, any changes made to your financial aid information would be retroactive to the start of the fall semester. So that means that we would consider you for all the aid that you're eligible for based on the results that we found.
Okay. one of the questions that I had, it says, I was asked to verify my parents' income by their taxes. I sent the form via email. Should you fax it as well? And signature page 1, 2, or all the pages. So if you submit the document to our office, the status should be updated on your My Checklist to receive not yet reviewed. If that status is updated to receive not yet reviewed, I would encourage you to wait until we review the documents, okay? Unless you really do believe that you might have missed a document, then I would encourage you to resubmit the documents all over, whether it's via fax or via email, okay? Because if you keep submitting the same documents over and over and over, essentially it just keeps pushing back the documents you submitted to our office to be reviewed. So you might want to wait for us to review the initial documents you submitted to our office to let you know whether or not everything is perfect. You don't have to submit anything else because it's deemed satisfactory. But if you think you might have missed something, that's when I would encourage you to submit the papers again to our office if you think you might have missed something. If not, just wait for the review process to take its course so you could be notified if everything is good or if you might have missed something. Because again, you'll be notified by via your My Checklist and your email. Some of the questions that we have on here are repetitive in regards again to the meal plan, the housing. So again, that would be housing questions. So I would encourage you to speak with somebody in housing. If you do have questions about your health waiver, I would encourage you to speak with somebody in health services. However, you will be billed directly for your health insurance if you don't do a waiver. So again, I would encourage you to do that sooner than later if you are planning on coming to UC Merced to submit your health insurance waiver. Another question that I see here is when is your balance due and when do you have to pay it in full? That will come as the time goes on. It would most likely be sometime in August and you will be notified. So once you decide to serve, you'll be getting more notifications from UC Merced in general, whether it's billing, whether it's financial aid, any other department in regards to anything that you have to submit to our office and when things are due, okay? If you do have questions again about changing your meal plan from one to the next, that is also a housing question. So you would have to speak to somebody in regards to that. If you want to change your your meal plan after you've already selected one. And if you do, again, more questions about anything having to do with meal plan and your housing is a housing question.
Yeah, there's even a question here that says, when I log into my portal, financial aid at UC Merced website, this is what it says. The page is unable for current users. What does this mean? I would definitely encourage you to contact the Students First Center so that they can refer you to the appropriate department for that. Because it might be a technical issue.
I have a question here that it says, under what circumstances would a student lose financial aid? Also, is there support for disabled students, or is this a question for a different department? So if you do have questions about your specifics, I would highly encourage you to contact the Students First Center so we could go ahead and direct you to the correct department. And a student can lose financial aid is if they don't meet grades, for example. So essentially for financial aid purposes, you have to meet the satisfactory academic progress that is listed on your awards terms and condition. You have to have a 2.0, you have to pass 70% of your classes. And typically for freshman students, those are the main two because there's also a maximum time frame. But as long as you maintain a 2.0 GPA and pass 70% of your classes, you don't have to worry about losing your financial aid eligibility.
There's another question here that says, if your parents make under $80,000 a year but didn't get the Blue and Gold program, is there any way to apply for reconsideration? If you see your financial aid package and you already see at least $12,570 in gift aid, then you're probably already under the Blue and Gold program. But in order for me to advise you better, I would recommend that you contact the Students First Center and then ask to speak with a financial aid advisor so that we can connect with you directly and explain your awards better.
Again, the same question that I do see is, can I accept my awards terms and conditions before I submit my SIR? And the answer to that is yes, you could go ahead and accept your awards terms and conditions prior to you doing the SIR. If you want to wait to do the SIR to then accept your awards terms and conditions, you can do that as well. So it does appear as though we've already answered a lot of the questions, and our webinar and our live Q&A is coming to an end. So I'm going to go ahead and wrap up. So if you do have any further questions for our office or any other department, I would highly encourage you to reach out to that office, whether it's via email, whether it's a phone call. I would highly encourage you to give us a call, especially if you want specifics about the student. Or if you're a parent specific to your student, I would highly encourage you to give us a call sooner than later, especially if you're in the midst of trying to decide whether your student is going to come to UC Merced. I would highly encourage you to give our office a call if we didn't get some of your questions answered through this live Q&A. So again, thank you very much, and I hope we did a great job.
Yeah, thank you all for joining us. And like Letty said, definitely give the Students First Center a call. And then if you have specific questions, I would really encourage you to tell them that you want to speak with a financial aid advisor.
And again, this webinar will be available in the next few, weeks, I believe, if not sooner than that. It'll be in the next few days. I'm sorry, the webinar will be available in the next few days. So it should be available for students to go back and reference it. And again, that website is going to be admitted.ucmerced.edu/webinars. And have a good night, everyone.